providing resources and comfort to caregivers. This is Caregiver Crossing.
Good morning, everyone. You are listening to Caregiver Crossing, and I just hope you're having a good Sunday morning. Caregiver Crossing is brought to you by Joy's House and presented in partnership with Cardon and Associates. And so thanks for being with us this morning. This show is created for family caregivers and the people who love them. So we're right here with you every Sunday morning to discuss all things caregiving. We're your hosts. I'm Tina McIntosh.
I'm Terry Stacy, and we're glad you're here. I'm going to find out a little bit about. We've got a great show planned for you. I'm having all kinds of trouble today in this November. That's not a good sign as we're heading into the holidays. Quickly, I just want to mention I had a fantastic conversation about something that I did not know, and it was with a veterinarian, and it was about dog dementia. And this is something that I hadn't even thought of. But I'm told if you're seeing your dog or cat, they may experience symptoms much like humans, in a sense that they sometimes might be staring off in the distance. They get lost in the house. And when we talk about a senior dog, that can be in all different breeds of what's considered a senior. But it is real. And there are treatments, and there are the same preventative ideas, I guess, to maybe implement in your home. And that is the things like healthy cooking for your dog, preparing those kind of things that are special and good for your brain. Same thing for your dog. But it was just an interesting conversation that we had on a show called The First Day on our WIBC station. So just something I did not know about.
Yeah, I don't think we think about that.
But it can happen, and a lot of studying going on right now within veterinarians to find out, just like in humans, how it happens and when it happens and which breeds perhaps that see it more than others. But just something that is interesting.
They are so smart. Have you seen they're on TikTok? If anybody knows me, I love TikTok.
She does.
I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not going to be ashamed. I love TikTok. And I wanted to be ashamed for just a second. There are a number of dogs on TikTok. Bunny is the one I'm thinking of, who can press the buttons to communicate in full sentences with the owner. And
so smart.
So as you're talking about dementia, I'm thinking, it would be so hard to not know what's going on and not be able to communicate at all. Right. I mean, so is dementia, and then you're a dog.
And in your dog. It's just a whole nother segment of our world and our population as we're getting older. Diseases and things obviously creep into our bodies. Same with dogs and cats. Yeah. And so anyway, I just thought it was an interesting conversation. I do want to have a conversation with you, though, about what's going on with you and your health, because we need an update. I know that in just a few short weeks here, about a month, you're going to be going in to the hospital for a bit.
I am. So if you're new to Caregiver Crossing, or you don't want to follow my life so closely that you know all of my health details, but I will just give you kind of the short. I have a history of health issues. And so it's been everything from...
Started early too, didn't it?
Goodness, Terry.
In your young life?
It's like, 3 lost pregnancies. One was a tubal, which is really interesting. I've had a portion of my colon taken out because endometriosis had grown through the colon wall. I've had 2 primary breast cancers, which is not really a thing. I think in 2020, we counted a dozen plus surgeries, some minor, some very major, chemo, radiation, the whole thing. My husband's had kidney cancer. He now has chronic myeloid leukemia. I don't know if you remember, he had transient global amnesia for 18 hours. Do you remember that whole thing?
I do not.
That's a whole different story. If we have time, I'll tell you, but it was weird.
It sounds different than just regular amnesia.
It is. Your memory comes back. It's weird. I'll tell you about it. But the short for me is throughout all of this, I've always had migraines and tinnitus and vertigo, and if you've been following the show, you might know I've had some times I haven't been able to be in because I've been doing additional testing. 4 years ago, they found a meningioma tumor, which is a slow-growing, most likely non-cancerous tumor in my brain, resting on the vein of Galen, which is kind of your main vein highway in there. They don't want to do anything with that right now. We're not worried.
What has that done to affect you? Is that where the...
Well, it's hard to know. So the tumor, we're not even going to touch right now. But we've been then, because of the cancers, checked into my brain, found the tumor. So when you go digging, sometimes you find things. And I thought some symptoms I've been having. Again, the migraine, tinnitus, vertigo. And then there's this rush of a head pressure that happens to me. I don't know how to describe it other than it happens when I laugh, cough, sneezing really right now is really hard for me, but it's also working out, sudden turns, bending over. It's just this huge pressure that takes over my head. I kind of bring my left hand up to my forehead and you'll see me go like, oh, hold on. And I kind of wave my right arm every time. And then I take a breath and it kind of subsides, but I almost shake it off like a dog. Like I kind of shake my head to get it out. And come to find out, I have this thing called Chiari malformation. I was probably born with it. And it's the skull that holds your brain. I have a little bit, my opening going into my spine is a little too big, and it's gotten bigger over time. And it's early on a Sunday, but a little bit of my brain is leaking out, hanging out the bottom of my skull.
Oh, can you feel it?
So that's what they think this is called a Chiari rush, this pain that I get.
So that's what you feel, but you don't actually can reach back in the back.
You cannot reach back and touch it. No.
And feel it.
No, but if I were younger and they discovered it, it would be like no rugby, no football, no, like no heavy contact sport. So the surgery I'm going to have on December 4th, so a month
coming
yesterday, gulp, is I'm going to say quote unquote brain surgery, because they're not operating on my brain, but they'll see my brain, the tonsils of the brain, and they'll be creating some space for my big old brain, and then they'll put me back together. So
it's amazing that they can do this.
It's amazing. Do not Google it, my friends. Do not Google it.
You Googled it, didn't you?
Oh, I for sure did. And I saw it on Cadaver, right? Did I say that right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't do that.
The procedure itself?
Yeah.
On a cadaver?
Yeah. It's much better in like a cartoony illustration than it is
that
on
the way the doctor presented it to you in a cartoon?
Yeah. Draw it. It'll be better. But it is, if you're going to have a quote unquote brain surgery, it's probably the easiest one you can have. And we're just going to leave that little tumor alone. So I will be, I'll be in the hospital for maybe a couple days, and then I'll be home, and I will be off work at Joy's house. I'll be off here at Caregiver Crossing until the beginning of February. I need to respect that my body is older than it used to be. It has been through a boatload. Yeah. Side note, don't let me complain about this body. It's overweight. It doesn't look as good as it used to, but it has been through a lot.
It has been through a lot, and it continues to move. It continues to move on and keep going and keep going.
Don't let me complain.
I won't.
Because I shouldn't.
But bless your heart, you have all of our prayers, and we will be here for you every step of the way.
I appreciate it, and I love you, and I love the show, and I love our listeners, and I'll be back in February, but until then, you're free of me until February.
Thank you for the update.
Thanks for asking. Thanks for caring.
You want to take a break? You want to do that real quick?
Yeah. So we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to discuss some interesting articles. One of which is called "What to Do When Your Adult Kids Ignore You."
Oh boy.
So we will be back in just a moment. Stick around for us here on Caregiver Crossing. Caregiver Crossing is supported by Cardon and Associates, with 20 communities owned, operated, or managed in the Midwest. In more than 40 years of senior living experience, Cardon and Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized service. And I do want to remind everyone that if you would like to get more information about our caregiver support services at Joy's House, please visit us at joyshouse.org, or you can call us at 317-254-0828. Stick around. We're back on Caregiver Crossing. I'm Tina McIntosh, and the clapper is
me, Terry Stacy.
Okay,
hi everybody.
This is going to be interesting. We're going to feel all kinds of feelings on this one, but we want to talk about an article.
I don't want to cry.
We want to talk about an article called "What to Do When Your Adult Kids Ignore You."
What to do when your adult kids ignore you.
Yeah, this came out from our friends at AARP. It was just published October 11th, so not that long ago. And this is a real sad reality. They're reporting, actually, the tag on this is more parents than ever feel neglected by their children.
Adult children.
Yeah.
And so what are you going to do about that?
Well, it's been a good show. Thanks for listening. I mean, so here's the thing.
You've got 3 kids. Two of them are adults now, right? I mean, we would consider them adults, right?
Yeah, 1.5.
18 and over.
Yeah.
That's an adult age. I think 18 and over.
It is.
So, yeah, your kids, you don't have this issue at all.
Well, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. The way this article starts with the AARP is like, hey, the calls aren't returned, the texts go unread, those invitations to Sunday dinner are declined. My kids are younger, so my oldest is in college. My middle just graduated high school, and then I've got high school. They're not blowing me off yet, except appropriately. 2 of them live with us still. But my 21-year-old, there are times when we talk a lot. She's one of my closest friends at this point. I'm allowed to be her friend now, sometimes. Sometimes I'm still mom, right?
The pictures are beautiful. I'll tell you when you send pictures of the 2 of you.
Yeah, she's wonderful. I'm a little biased. There are times when I'm like, I can't get a hold of you. And in today's day and age with technology the way it is, I mean, let's be honest, I can Life 360 track her. I could Snap track her. I see her Snap story. We're on Be Real together. I see Instagram posts. I mean, we can text, we can call, we can FaceTime. I mean, there are 8,000. That's overwhelming just to even say it all out loud, right? 1,000 ways to communicate.
It's a blessing.
Yes.
And a curse.
But if days go by and I haven't talked with her, I feel a little needy. Like, hello, hey, tap, tap, tap me, tap, tap, tap me. Now, escalate this. Let's say it's, 20 years from now, I'm at that point in my mid-70s. Things are starting to happen to my body. I'm, feeling a different way about those people around me. And she has her own family. And my 3 days of tap, tap, tap goes to 2 weeks.
Oh boy.
Right? It happens. I hear aging adults say it all the time. I feel so lonely. I just feel so lonely now, and I expected that my kids would be there. Not just with family, or just
in
general.
In general.
Yeah, but I think there's an obligation, right? I mean, there's an obligation as a child we feel, but nowadays, therapeutically, we're told all the time to put in these boundaries. It's okay.
That's right.
Just because someone had a parent doesn't make them good at it.
Right.
And you don't have to like your mom. I'll go back to biblical, like respect her, right? And love her. She gave you life, but you don't have to like her, and you can put in your boundaries. And so this article speaks to that, Terry, like more and more people of, I'd say, our generation and younger are being able to say to their parents, like, I didn't like the way you treated me. And
that feels so different to me.
Doesn't it,
because
though?
I am older and have a different relationship and a different respect for parents.
Well,
I'm not one, so I don't know what you feel but I know loneliness is on the horizon.
Well, and you see it everywhere.
I don't have children, right? So I know who's going to come and see me, huh?
You can come to my house. That's why I build an extra little place to live outside.
Let me talk about loneliness for a minute. No.
It is scary, though, isn't it? To think about.
It is scary.
And in this article, they talk about parents have high expectations. So in a 2012 survey, so it's been a minute, but at the University of Virginia, found that over 27% of parents wanted to be best friends with their grown children.
Oh.
Now, there's a difference. If we're talking parents with young kids, it's like it's hard to be the friend to somebody you're trying to raise and parent. As they get older, like I said with my oldest, she has become one of my best friends. There are times when, the other day she said to me, "You're acting like a mom." And I was like, well, that's because I'm your mom. Like, maybe we should hang up and talk later. And we agreed. We're going to hang up now. We'll talk later. We'll take 2 in a bit. But as they get older, you're hearing over a fourth of people saying, like, I really wanted to be closer with my kids. And so
how do you change it, though? What do you do? If you're at that, now you need to change it. Or what do you do as a parent and you're not getting enough attention and love from your adult child? What do you do with that?
Okay, there are a few things they say in this article, but I do want to share with you something that somebody said to me the other day. I was in a meeting with somebody, and he said that he has started with his adult children saying, and this man's in his 60s, he has started saying, Terry, what is it that you need from me at this point in your life?
Oh, that's a good question.
And what is it you want from me?
You just ask. What you're saying is you just ask. What do you want me? What do you want?
Right. What do you need from me? What do you want from me? again, it's just perspectives, right?
Yeah.
Now, I would hope the child would turn around and say the same to you, but let's be honest. It's probably not going to happen that way.
Yeah.
And then, but you can say, here's what I wish at this point in our lives. And it's okay if it doesn't match up right now. But if we're just, putting it all out there, I don't know. It takes a lot of emotional intelligence,
sure
I think, to be able to say that.
Too.
So in the article, they ask questions more than really giving the answers. Again, this is the article in AARP that is titled, "What to Do When Your Adult Kids Ignore You." Do you have realistic expectations? So I guess kind of what I just said, making sure you know what those are. Do you respect boundaries, including with the cell phones? People, it is called spamming someone when you send 57 messages in a row. Hi, hey, hello, you there? Poke, hi. Poke. So respect that. It says the single biggest thing.
This is for the adult. This is for the parent to do, is to respect. Okay.
Yeah.
It's up that side of it.
In this article, it says the single biggest thing that this person hears from adult children about their parents is, you need to respect my boundaries. And that's in part because those lines really get blurred. And so it's funny, the rules change. Do you acknowledge relationship realities? Can you adjust your focus? And then, they said in this is a good one, Terry. Instead of expecting help from them, can you offer help to an adult child? Childcare, dog walking, buying pizza delivery on a busy weekend. Can you do something
good. I like
for them?
that.
And then can you give it time?
I need to do more of that, I think.
Come on, you're like the most caring person I know.
But I think those are great ideas. Just in the middle of the week, send Sherry's berries. Just I'm thinking of you kind of thing. Maybe we're not talking today, but maybe a little something.
I mean, I'll give you my address.
I like that.
You know where I live. Just bring them by.
You're going to get a lot of Sherry's berries.
I like Sherry's berries. And then can you give it time? And this is key. All relationships go through rough patches, and perhaps a breather might help. So sometimes just being able to be like, I'm going to pause. Yeah. And whether that's for a few minutes or a few months or unfortunately longer. Yeah. But strained relationships are no joke when it comes to, us with our adult kids.
I'm sad that we have to have that conversation, but I grew up at a different time, again, different respect, different caring about a parent. But I know the times are different. As you said, things are changing. You've got the phones. You've got everything in a second you can reach them. I get it.
You got these crazy cell phones.
Yeah.
All right. In different news, I've had a few people ask how they can buy my book for the holidays. So I'm just going to say it out loud. Hi, I'm Tina McIntosh. I have a book called Embrace the Imbalance. I mean, I'm biased, but it's a really good gift for the holidays. And so you can go to embracetheimbalance.com and I can mail it to you. So, embracetheimbalance.com. Come see me there. All right. I know we need to take a break. When we come back, we have a doctor with us, right? We have Dr. Monica Farrelly with Regenstrief, and she's going to talk about childhood experiences and the trajectories of frailty and decline that come from those.
Very interesting.
It is. And yes, you're going to want to hear it.
Yep, coming up.
Caregiver Crossing is brought to you by Cardon and Associates. Cardon and Associates operates in Indiana, has over how many, Terry? 20 communities owned, operated, or managed in the Midwest, actually, and more than 40 years of senior living experience. Cardon and Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized service. We will be right back in just a moment on Caregiver Crossing. We're back on Caregiver Crossing. Now, we're going to talk about frailty. This is a serious concern in older adults due to its association with things like disability and falls and hospitalization and even mortality. And so about 15% of those aged 65 or older are considered frail. Let's think about that. About 15% of those over the age of 65 are considered frail, and frailty is on the rise. And so for the second half of our show today, we welcome to the Joy's House studio, Dr. Monica Farrelly, and she is a research scientist with Regenstrief. First of all, thank you for being here with us.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
So we hear incredible things coming out and happening at Regenstrief. Can you explain to folks a little bit about yourself and the work that you're doing?
Yeah, for sure. So I am kind of a duly appointed faculty member in the IU School of Medicine and General Internal Medicine and Geriatrics. And then I'm a research scientist at Regenstrief in the IU Center for Aging Research. So my primary appointment is to do health research pertaining to older adults. And in particular, my research focuses on kind of life course health. So thinking about things beginning in childhood and even earlier, things like, mother's health and how those things influence your health over the life course. So that is what I do.
We learned last week that falls are the number one cause of fatal and non-fatal injuries for seniors. And it's interesting that you talk about this connection to our childhood experiences. Is that connected, the falls?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. So falls and frailty are actually quite tied, which, might make sense to you. So actually, people are about 2 to 3 times more likely to have not only falls, but recurrent falls if they're frail versus non-frail. So definitely this is related. And as you guys have just mentioned, falls are a really important predictor of, kind of rapid health decline and mortality as well. So, definitely something you would like to avoid if at all possible.
So, Dr. Farrelly, you have there's this news release that came across our desk, and it is called "Supportive Later Life Social Relationships Mediate the Risk of Severe Frailty in Adults Who Had Negative Childhood Experiences." I feel like I need to tear apart the title of that, right? What really caught me was this whole negative childhood experiences.
Yeah, me too.
And it can affect us later in life with being frail. Is that really the basis of this study? Are we getting that right?
Yes, absolutely. So, like I said, the kind of cornerstone of my work is showing this link, right? So we think, we've heard before things like, what you do in midlife, what you do in your 30s and 40s influence your health and how you age later in life. But kind of that starts even earlier than that. So things that you experience in childhood, either good or bad, can influence your health in later life, both directly and then through, kind of indirect effects, thinking about things like how something negative in childhood could influence your health behaviors in midlife, which could then influence your health in later life. So there's kind of a number of different mechanisms by which things in childhood can influence your health in later life.
When you talk about those childhood experiences, I still go to I'm thinking about all of the roller coasters that I've ridden that are now affecting me in my neck and my back and am I getting it wrong? Am I still not understanding it correctly?
I think we're talking psychological too.
Psychological
is that right?
too? Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a number of different kind of, I'm going to use the word domains, but there's a number of different domains of childhood experiences that can influence your health. So, obviously things like psychological, things that could happen, psychological traumas, physical traumas for sure. I mean, if you're, riding one of those old school wooden roller coasters.
Terry, Stacy,
and me.
Yeah, right. It can certainly influence, some of your back, your neck, which, could influence, particularly even frailty when you're older or, so you're not wrong.
Okay.
Psychological and physical things. In this paper in particular, we kind of look at 5 different domains. So things like, lower socioeconomic status. So, not having as much money as others when growing up, risky parental behavior. So like, did your parents smoke? Did they abuse any substances? Or, the obvious one would be, did you, experience any physical abuse or emotional abuse from your parents? things like that.
Interesting. That part is interesting too. The psychological part and how that affects us as far as frailty and falls. Very interesting. Tina, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just, I think about from a talk therapy perspective, right? So often a talk therapist wants to take you back to your childhood to figure out why you are how you are now and the decisions you make and your interpersonal relations. And really, I think, Dr. Farrelly, what I'm hearing you say is a lot of that is truth in how we physically respond and, I don't know, socially respond to things too. I just think it's a fascinating study. And forgive us if we sound a little slow with trying to absorb it, but I think I'm just trying to wrap my head around what all that means. I'm 52 years old, and so my entire life, not only from a psychological perspective, but just everything, right? I mean, head to toes and everything in between, and my decisions. Yikes. I feel like I need to...
Are there regrets?
I'm going to call my therapist. I think there's a lot to unpack. And I say that jokingly, but there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I think about my own kids. My husband and I, we've shared on the show, have had a lot of health related issues. And I think about how those things are potentially going to affect them down the road. And so when we...
You want to take a break?
Well, I do. First of all, where can people find information on the study? And then we have so many questions when we come back.
Yeah. So this study is in the Journal of Gerontology Social Sciences. So that's where the whole study is. If anyone's interested, they're more than welcome to email me for more information. And then a lot of these studies come from a study called the Health and Retirement Study. It's this massive study of older adults in the United States that studies, as you might guess, health and retirement. So there's a lot more information on their website as well.
Excellent. Again, you are hearing the voice of Dr. Monica Farrelly, and she is a research scientist with Regenstrief. The name of the paper and the article that she is responding to and talking about is Supportive Later Life Social Relationships Mediate the Risk of Severe Frailty in Adults who had negative childhood experiences. So you can find that too. We're going to take a break. We will be back in just a moment here on Caregiver Crossing. Caregiver Crossing is supported by Cardon and Associates with 20 communities owned, operated, or managed in the Midwest and more than 40 years of senior living experience. Cardon and Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized care. Stick around. We will be back in just a moment here on Caregiver Crossing. We're back on Caregiver Crossing. We are your hosts. I'm Tina McIntosh.
Terry Stacy.
And we're happy you're here. As we close up our hour with you this morning on Caregiver Crossing, we are really happy that Dr. Monica Farrelly with Regenstrief here in Indianapolis, she is a research scientist. She has stayed around with us. She is talking about a recent research project and paper she published. Can you, how would you explain this to a child, this whole project here?
Yeah, sure. So I would just say in general, health begins in childhood and progresses throughout the life course. So things that happen to you or you experience in childhood can certainly influence your health in later life. I would say the important thing to also note, because that can be, I would say that can be kind of depressing for some people, right? So If you've had a really rough childhood, you think, my goodness, there's nothing I can do. I'm going to have all these poor health outcomes because I had this horrible childhood. But that's not true. There are things that you can do, just like you've heard before, eating healthy, having good diet and exercise is going to help you, regardless of the influences that you've had in childhood. And then also what this study shows in particular is to really try and cultivate good social relationships. Have people in your life that are supportive of you, and by and large, that will kind of help to overcome some of the noxious effects of childhood.
Was there anything in the study, Dr. Farrelly, that really would help those of us who are parents raising children. As I mentioned to you when we talked a moment ago, we've had a lot of health issues that are beyond our control in our household between my spouse and myself. Is there anything that the studies show that we can be doing with or for our children to make sure they have the best possible outcomes as they get older?
Yeah, sure. So, it kind of hit some of those, but I think in particular for this paper, it says, be supportive of your kids, be there for them, help them, despite some health issues, help them to cultivate and maintain friendships, close relationship with family members. All of those things are really going to help kind of overcome some things that are, not so great in childhood. So yeah, that would be my best advice. Just, be supportive parents.
Did you observe any gender differences in this study?
Yeah, I did. So kind of in general, you guys are probably well aware of this, but women tend to live a little bit longer than men.
Yeah.
But those years are not always as healthy. So in general, women live longer than men, but tend to have, kind of some poorer health outcomes earlier on and then last for a longer period of time. So in this study, women more likely to be frail at the beginning and then more likely to continue to be frail in later life. Some of that is because, some of the men are kind of, for lack of a better way to say it, dying out of the sample. So women are just the ones that are left. But there's that for sure. And I didn't find it in this study, but women tend to have better social relationships with men as they age. Women tend to stay in closer contact with their families as they get older. And so that definitely helps.
Interesting. And was there something in your life, I don't know how this works with research, was there something in your life that caused you to want to do this kind of investigation? Or, did you just pull something out of a hat and they're like, Monica, this is when you go Dr. Farrelly. How does that work?
Yeah, so, you can certainly pull things out of your hat for research, but I would say most people are, drawn to it for a certain reason. So before I went back to grad school, I actually was a social worker, and I was contracted through the Department of Child Services. And so I actually worked with some families that experienced basically everything on this list of indicators of, negative childhood experiences. And I kind of saw, how that could influence a person's life, not only a person's life, but generationally speaking, right? So these things can be cycles if you kind of don't, try your best to reduce these influences earlier on. So that definitely influenced me in the research that I am doing now.
I want to know what surprised you when you looked at this study. And what was it that really jumped out at you? Because you're a mom now, and so you're thinking, what do I need to do or change after I've learned this information?
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't find anything necessarily. I was expecting to find most of the findings that I found, is what I will say. The research that I've done kind of shows me that these relationships exist. One thing I will note for anyone who does, want to read this study in full, one of the domains of health that we found that does influence frailty in this paper was infectious diseases, and in a way that you wouldn't expect. And I would like to point out the reason for this. So we found that infectious diseases, it looks like infectious diseases are health protective, meaning they're getting infectious diseases is good. This is certainly not the case, and we have to remember that this sample was before vaccines existed, right? So this is like things like chickenpox, measles, and mumps. This is before we had vaccines for this stuff. So I would like to point that out. But I think, by and large, just really doing as much as you can and as early on as possible to kind of change the way that your health trajectories could go, for sure.
Dr. Monica Farrelly, here at the very end, we have to kind of wrap up quickly here, but are there any future research projects you're hoping to do? And if so, what should we know about those?
Yeah, so moving forward, a lot of the research that I will be doing will kind of be recruiting from both Eskenazi Health System and IU Health System. So if anyone ever approaches you about doing research and you're interested in it, I highly encourage you to do so. There's also a website called All In for Health, where you can register to be a volunteer or be a part of any of this research. It's really important to us that do research to participate if you're so inclined, and we would really appreciate your support.
Dr. Monica Farrelly, a research scientist with Regenstrief. Thank you. Thank you for sharing so much of your time with us today. All right. As we close the show today, we just want to remind our listeners that they can contact Tina McIntosh, for more information and resources to help you through the journey of caregiving. Tina at joyshouse.org, or you can call us too at 317-254-0828. Again, that's 317-254-0828. Also, we want to thank our friends at Cardon and Associates, with 20 communities owned, operated, or managed in the Midwest and more than 40 years of senior living experience. Cardon and Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized service. We want to thank all of you so much again for joining us here on Caregiver Crossing. We will be back again next week, same time, same place. Have a great week ahead. This has been Caregiver Crossing. Thanks for listening.